Bobby's mom, please come quickly. I was shocked when the teacher told me that my son, Bobby, had collapsed after falling from the playground equipment and hitting his head. I quickly called my husband for help, but he was busy with work and couldn't come right away. It felt cruel that he wasn't there for our son when he was being taken to the hospital. I realized the worst reason my husband couldn't come was that he had work. I'm Jennifer, and I live with my husband, Dan, and our son, Bobby, who is in elementary school. John works in the hotel industry and doesn't get weekends off. Because of this, he rarely joins Bobby for school events. He has never been to parent-teacher conferences or sports days. When I got a letter about a parent-child outing, I asked John if he could come, but I knew he probably wouldn't be able to. I said, "There's a parent-child outing during the next public holiday." He replied, "I can't. I have work." Even though I understood, I still felt sad. When I talked to other moms, they said their husbands made time to come to event, even if they had to work on weekends. I mentioned this to John, but he seemed annoyed and said, "So, you want me to take a day off too? You know I can't do that." I felt bad and didn't push him any further, so I decided to go along with Bobby. Many families were there with both parents, but I didn't mind. Some dads were there alone because their wives were working, and that was okay. I thought I would still enjoy the day with Bobby. However, when the kids went to play, I felt lonely. The other moms were with their husbands, so it was hard to join in their conversations. While sitting alone, the teacher came running to me in a panic and said, "Bobby's mom, please come quickly." I was scared and asked, "What happened?" The teacher said, "Bobby collided with a friend and fell from the playground equipment." I rushed to the scene and found Bobby unconscious. The teacher called an ambulance right away. I went with Bobby to the hospital while he was still unconscious. When we got to the hospital, Bobby was quickly taken for an exam. I realized I hadn't called John yet, so I quickly called him and said, "Dan, something terrible has happened. Bobby fell and hit his head. He's unconscious." John responded, "Why didn't you call an ambulance before calling me?" The teacher had already called an ambulance, and Bobby was being taken to the hospital for tests. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when John said, "You're at the hospital. Just email me the results when you know." I was shocked. He didn't plan to come to the hospital during this emergency. I said, "What do you mean? You need to come home now." But John just replied casually, "Didn't I tell you I can't take a break during this holiday? But this is an emergency. Don't you understand? Our son is in a critical situation." John responded, "I know you're at the hospital, but there's nothing I can do. We just have to wait for the results. Let me know when you get any updates. Bye." He hung up the phone. I was left staring at my phone, feeling lost. He wouldn't even come home to be with our son during something so serious. As I sat there, a man came up to me and asked, "Are you Bobby's mom?" "I'm Alex's father." Alex was the friend who had collided with Bobby on the playground. I remembered seeing Alex and his dad at the outing. His wife wasn't there because she was away. Alex's dad bowed deeply and said, "I'm so sorry for what happened." I quickly said, "I heard from the teacher that Bobby and Alex accidentally ran into each other. It was an accident, and it could have happened to anyone. Please don't worry about it." Next to his father, Alex stood there with bandages on his head, his eyes swollen from crying. "It's because I ran into Bobby," he said. I reassured him, "It's not your fault, Alex. Bobby will be fine. Once he's better, will you play with him again?" Alex nodded, still teary-eyed. His father thanked me, saying, "Thank you for your kind words. My wife should have been here too, but she's away on a trip with her friends, and she couldn't cancel it. I'm embarrassed." I nodded and said, "It's okay. My husband can't come back from work either." "Is Alex's mom also away?" Alex's dad hesitated. "Actually, yes, she's on a trip with her friends, which was planned before the field trip. I've tried to contact her, but I can't reach her." Just then, Alex's dad's phone rang. "It's my wife," he said. He answered the phone and explained the situation to her. After a few minutes, he hung up and told me, "My wife is on her way. A friend is driving her here, but it'll take about 2 hours." I nodded when my own phone rang. It's my husband, I said, excusing myself to answer the call. John said, I managed to get some time off. I'll head there as soon as I finish work. It'll take about 2 hours. I felt relieved. That's great, I said. I went back to Alex's father and told him, my husband will also be here in about 2 hours. It'll be good for both of us to be here when Bobby wakes up. Just then, the doctor came out to tell us that Bobby had no serious injuries. The test showed that he had just lost consciousness from the shock, so they were going to keep an eye on him for a while. Even though the doctor said Bobby was fine, I still couldn't stop worrying about when he would wake up. When I came out of the exam room, Alex's father was waiting for me. He was holding Alex, who had fallen asleep from exhaustion. We started talking about our families to take our minds off the situation. Alex's dad explained, my wife is a homemaker, but lately, she's been going out with friends a lot in the evenings and on weekends. When she's away, I take care of Alex. During the weekdays, it's usually my wife who takes care of him. As I listened to Alex's dad, he said, I thought my wife should enjoy her nights and weekends, but now I regret not canceling her trip during the school field trip. I couldn't help but compare him to my husband, Dan. On his days off, John would always say he needed time to relax and unwind, whether it was the weekend or a weekday. On the other hand, Alex's father was very involved in taking care of his child. While we talked, I found myself complaining about my husband to Alex's father. Then, something strange occurred to me. The way John and Alex's mother behaved was very similar. They both couldn't attend events on certain days, and those days seemed to match up with the nights they went out in the evenings. I got curious and asked, by the way, my husband went on a business trip to Phoenix last month. Alex's father asked, when was that? I replied, it was the first weekend of last month, I think. Alex's father looked surprised and said, my wife went on a trip with friends the same day. She came back with souvenirs from Phoenix. We exchanged a look, both of us feeling suspicious. After about 2 hours, we got a call from my husband. He said he would arrive at the parking lot soon. I told Alex's father and went to meet John in the parking lot. When I peeked into the car, I noticed the passenger seat was empty. I started to wonder if Alex's mother was with him. I brought John back to Bobby's hospital room, and after greeting Alex's father, Alex's mother showed up. I watched closely as she and John looked at each other for a moment, clearly caught off guard. It was like they didn't know how to act. John greeted Alex's mother. Hello. Thank you for always taking care of our son. Alex's mother quickly responded. Oh, yes, hello. Likewise. I decided to see what would happen next and asked, is this your first time meeting my husband? Alex's mom. Alex's mother seemed flustered and said, of course, it's our first time meeting. Isn't that obvious? I replied, you don't have to deny so desperately. It wouldn't be strange if you had met him at parent-teacher meetings or school events, right? She quickly responded, that's impossible. I didn't know John's son was in the same class as my son. I hadn't called my husband by his name yet in front of her, but she took the bait. This seemed very suspicious to me. At that moment, I was sure that my husband, Dan, was having an affair with Alex's mother. It seemed like they had been dating secretly, not even knowing their children were classmates. I asked, isn't it strange? How do you know my husband's name if this is the first time you're meeting him? Alex's mother was caught off guard and didn't answer. Then John, trying to protect her, snapped, Hey, Jennifer, what's your problem? That's rude. She's the mother of our son's friend. Show some respect. Alex, who had just woken up from the noise, pointed to John and said, the man who comes to our house. The room went silent. Alex's mother quickly tried to cover up what he said. Hold on, Alex, what are you talking about? Are you sure you're not confusing him with someone else? But Alex insisted, No, I'm not mistaken. Dad, can I have your tablet? He grabbed the tablet and showed us a picture on it. This is the toy train set I made, Alex said. The picture showed the toy train set in his room, but what caught my attention was a man in the background of the photo. Alex pointed to the man and said, I remember him because I look at this photo all the time. Upon closer look, the man in the picture was John, chatting with Alex's mother in the background of Alex's living room. I glared at them. The truth was out. Alex's father, trembling with anger, raised his voice at his wife. You've been inviting your lover into our house while I'm at work. And look at the date. This is the day I was away on business, isn't it? I was shocked too when I saw the date. It was the same day that John didn't come home because of his business trip. Don't tell me you stayed over at Alex's house that day, Alex's father said. Alex's mother hesitated. Well, she said it was okay for him to stay over, John admitted, shifting the blame to her. She quickly retorted, What? You're blaming me. You were the one who said it was a waste of money to stay outside. Alex's father shouted, Enough. You've been inviting your lover into a house with a child. You're unfit to be a mother. You're despicable. John flinched at his words. Then he tried to make Alex's mother the villain. She's unfit to be a mother. At least I've never met her in front of Bobby. I care about my child. I was furious. Are you kidding me? Even when Bobby was unconscious, you didn't come home. You used work as an excuse. John tried to defend himself, saying, That's not true. I rushed to the hospital, didn't I? I snapped. You came because she decided to come back, not because you cared. You didn't have any intention of coming back until Alex's dad told you about Bobby's accident. John tried to justify himself. I thought it would be okay if I wasn't there. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It's not about whether it's okay or not. If you were a real father, you would rush to your child's side when you hear they're unconscious, but you chose your trip with your lover over our son. You're not a father at all. No matter what, John was still Bobby's father, and he told me, What are you going to do if Bobby doesn't wake up? Can you, a stay-at-home mom, afford these hospital bills? You and Bobby won't survive without me. It was frustrating because I didn't have enough savings to keep paying the bills. I wasn't sure what to do. Should I ignore John's infidelity for now? Just as I was about to give up, Bobby's weak voice called out, Ma'am. I turned around and saw Bobby barely able to open his eyes. I rushed to him, and he hugged me tightly, saying, Even if Dad's not here, I'll be okay. I'll protect you, ma'am. John was shocked. Why would you say that, Bobby? Bobby answered firmly, Because you're moving out, right? You said on the phone that you don't care about Mom. You said if it wasn't for us kids, you'd leave right away and be with someone else. I heard you say it when I went to the bathroom. John's face went pale. Bobby continued, So, I don't need to be your child anymore. I don't need a dad. John was stunned, but I finally made up my mind. I told John, I've made up my mind. Please, let's separate. At that moment, Alex's father gave me his business card and said, Jennifer, I'll help with your decision. The card had the title of a law firm director on it. We have enough evidence, like this photo. Leave the alimony and child support to me. I'm also making a claim against my wife, so it'll work out for both of us. When Alex's mother heard this, she panicked. Wait, I haven't agreed to a divorce. I won't leave you. Alex's father, coldly, said, You cheated. You have no right to choose. A mother who cheats in front of her child doesn't deserve custody. If you don't agree, we'll go to court. I have a high success rate, and I won't lose. Alex's mother quickly agreed to the divorce and compensation. Dan, seeing there was no hope, also signed the papers for alimony and child support. After that, both our marriages ended in divorce. John and Alex's mother started living together, but things didn't go as planned. They started suspecting each other of cheating, and their relationship soured. Eventually, John cheated again, and his affair was discovered by the woman's husband, who demanded compensation. Alex's mother also had an affair, but her lover used her and then left. Both of them were left with nothing. Alex's mother spent all her savings, and John was in debt from paying compensation. They blamed each other for their problems and were heading towards financial ruin. I didn't feel sorry for them. They got what they deserved. As for me, thanks to Alex's father, I received enough alimony and child support. Bobby and I are now living peacefully. Bobby recovered fully and went back to his daily routine. He still plays with Alex just like before. I've become good friends with Alex's father. We talk about everything, and my only wish now is to continue living a happy life with Bobby, just the two of us.